So there's several key elements that contribute to our success, really in any area of sales, in particular here in this field, in the expense management field. And so I'm going to just invest a few minutes here talking about what these different areas of success are, and then each module will cover each specific area in a little bit more detail. But the main thing that is important to understand is it is the incremental law of success, incrementally gaining and increasing our value in each of these areas. And what I mean by that is sometimes salespeople really get caught into a trap of trying to justify their strengths. In other words, compensating their strengths for their weaknesses. And what I mean by that is I might be great at closing a deal, but if I don't have prospects in front of me to be asking for the business of, it doesn't matter. And that's why we have some critical success areas that I want to cover here just briefly. And again, we'll tie down into these individually with more specifics and more detail. But the very first one, and if you look in your manual, there's one of these pages. It's going to say critical success factors, and then also your sales toolbox. But the first one, and just take notes here along the way as you're following along, but prospecting is the first critical success factor. That's filling your pipeline and your funnel up with contacts who can buy within a reasonable amount of time. And when we talk about prospecting, when we go into that module, it's not necessarily finding people who will buy, but people who can buy. And there's a key distinction that needs to be made right there. The second success factor is approaching. So once we discover, once we identify who these prospects are, what do we say to them? How do we say it? How have we identified each one of our prospects? Do we know the audience? And how does that change our approach? So getting through to the likely prospect and arranging what we call a needs analysis meeting. And that's the third critical success factor, is the needs analysis. And that is going through and clearly identifying the customer's needs, their exact problem, and the service, how our service may be able to satisfy those existing needs as we present solutions. And that is the fourth critical success factor, is presenting or demonstrating in an orderly, logical process that shows the prospect that our product is ideal to meeting their challenge. The next critical success factor, the fifth factor, is answering objections. And a lot of times it's just learning to expect or learning to know what objections you may be met with so you can overcome those or answer them. And a lot of times we see salespeople who are afraid of objections. I love objections because it's engagement in the sales process. The sixth critical success factor is closing. So that's asking for the business, overcoming inertia and hesitation, and getting the prospect to make a firm commitment as to what the next steps are that are mutually beneficial for everybody involved, but moving forward to the next steps, whatever those may be. And the seventh critical success factor is personal and time management. Organizing your time and life in such a way that you can make the most productive time out of your day and make sure that you're zapping it for every moment that it's worth. And that goes into how you plan and organize and meet the objectives for the day. So those are the 7 critical success factors. We'll now begin by breaking down each one individually.